Mr. Lubetzky, thank you so much for joining us here.
Pleasure,
I really
Gavin.
appreciate the time. So a lot of people know you have done so many wonderful things with your business ventures, but you have some very solid ties here to the San Antonio community. How did your education, whether it was from Lee High School or our alma mater, Trinity University, really help prepare you for your entrepreneurship and business ventures?
I mean, it was an incredible formative years. At Trinity, I learned to be very curious. At Lee, I learned to build bonds with everybody. I started businesses going to flea markets at the Bossy and Eisenhower Flea Market. Then I graduated into North Star Mall in Ingram Park, where I had kiosks. I learned business here in San Antonio.
How does the culture, the city, the feel of San Antonio really help you to be not only a great business person, but a great person?
I think both. The San Antonio is a place that welcomes everybody, that smiles at everybody, that's warm to everybody. The diversity, the warmth, the hard work ethic are part of our culture, and I think they really did forge who I am to a significant degree.
What do you see as some of the benefits for an entrepreneur or a large corporation or people coming to San Antonio, because it is a rising force, a large growing population?
I think one of the best things about San Antonio is that it's so kind and forgiving, because when you're an entrepreneur, you're going to fail. And you need to be comfortable making mistakes and dusting it off, learning from mistakes, and then getting things done. And so the environment, the culture of San Antonio encourages everybody to be themselves, to try things out. And I think that it's a very conducive environment for entrepreneurs.
One thing I really admire about you is you certainly don't shy away from talking about the mistakes of all the things that brought you up here, the long hours you mentioned selling up and down Broadway. Why is it important to acknowledge that as someone who's had as much success as you, but also for someone who's just starting out?
Well, first of all, a lot of people get the wrong message and assume that entrepreneurial journeys are always a success overnight. That's 99% of the case, not the case. In mine and in every other sharks that I've talked about, you always had to pivot. You always had to have a lot of costly mistakes and then listen to the lessons that the world is giving you for you to pivot and then figure it out. So you need to just encourage people to be comfortable taking risks and understanding that's a normal part of the journey, and don't be so unforgiving. And in general, if you're trying things out and things are not going the way you want, be a little bit more forgiving of yourself and a little bit more patient with yourself, because sometimes it's going to take that long. And then if you're not challenging yourself enough and you're not pushing yourself enough, then be a little bit tougher on yourself. But find the right balance, and it's like driving a car with gears. When things are going well, you need to lean in and go faster and challenge yourself more. When you're having a tough time, then go in first gear and be more loving and forgiving of yourself, because it's always going to be a roller coaster ride.
You mentioned this grace that you should have for yourself, and that's also something you've brought to your business practices, whether through Peaceworks or Kind. Why is that such an important part of not only being a great human, as you talk about, but being a successful business person who is working to create these startups?
To be clear, at Kind, we had an extraordinarily competitive culture, and in everything I do, we demand absolute excellence. It's precisely because we want that excellence that you need to accompany it with grace. Because if you're demanding excellence and being an absolute jerk, people are not going to enjoy their work. So you need to combine excellence with kindness. That's where the best cultures thrive, where you're committing to do the best you can, but being forgiving of yourself and your team members. And then you have the space for you to make mistakes, but learn those lessons and figure it out.
Your work within the nonprofit space and giving back to the communities is something that I think a lot of people should aspire to with the way that you give back. Why is that an important core tenet of your business and you as a person?
I don't do the civic work I do to give back. I do it because of what I call enlightened self-interest, so that my children will have a better future, so my community will be able to prevent hate and violence and dehumanization. All of these challenges, I want to try to do better so that my community and my family will have a better environment. So I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm doing it for my well-being and that of others.
That brings me to a lot of your work within Builders, especially Builders Texas. Why is that a movement that you stand behind and something that you think is the positive way of envisioning a better future for this country?
Builders recognizes that you can either be a destroyer or a builder. A builder is a person that instead of saying us versus them, divide, destroy, diminish, says, I need to get up in the morning and unite, build together, bring light to the world. Let's build together. Instead of tearing each other apart, it's building together.
One thing that I'd imagine you must hear from several people who come up to you, they always ask, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Is there an advocacy for listening to yourself and your own inner voice to getting to a position that you feel comfortable with?
I think the first thing you should do is have a conversation with yourself to understand what gives you meaning, and then find a way for you to be active. Because all of us aspire to be builders, but if we don't lean in, we're going to leave that vacuum for the extremists. And so you can take a very small, easy step by joining builderstx.org, or go on any social media of your preference and look for Builders TX or Builders Movement, and you learn how you can every single day think with a little bit more curiosity, compassion, creativity, and courage. The 4 C's of a builder's mindset, they're going to make you a better citizen, but also a better entrepreneur, a better parent, a better sibling. There's skills that help you live life more fulfilled by opening your mind, by helping you be more of a successful entrepreneur.
We're here for the 10th San Antonio Startup Week. 10 years is a very big number when it comes to startups. Where do you see the next 10 years going for San Antonio? And do you think it's going to be a large economic driver into the future?
I think entrepreneurship is far and away the most important force in any city in the United States. Entrepreneurship, small businesses drive more than 50% of job opportunities. And more with AI and technology, one person can build something insanely successful. So the opportunity for all of us is going to exist there to think outside the box and use all these tools to create something amazing. So I think we're just beginning a complete area of huge disruption, but with that disruption comes a lot of opportunity for everybody.
There are a lot of entrepreneurs in this city giving it their all, trying to even, potentially secure an investment from you, whether they're on Shark Tank or working with your other companies. What is something that you look for in a business that helps you think this is going to be successful?
First of all, I look for values. Like, is this person a hard worker? Do they have integrity? Are they authentic? Are they transparent? Are they introspective? I think one of the most important skills for all of us is learning to absorb feedback and grow from it. If we are growing every day, we're going to outcompete everybody else. But if we think we're insecure and don't allow ourselves to question how we could do better, we're going to get stunted. And it happens to everybody. The more successful you are, the more dangerous that it becomes, that you end up thinking you have all the answers and then you get in trouble.
You've mentioned critical thinking as being such a big pillar of who you are in your business practices. Why do you think that's a skill that we as a country need to build now more than ever?
Critical thinking is essential because it helps an entrepreneur identify opportunities that others didn't see, and it helps us in society question false messiahs, dogmas, divisions. So if you're a critical thinker and you learn to accept that you may not have all the answers and listen to the other side, you're going to be able to navigate differences and create solutions. If you think that social media is feeding you all the answers and starting to think that you have all the answers and you know everything, and assume that the other person is absolutely wrong, you're not going to grow, you're not going to be able to navigate differences, come up with solutions. Because we need to replace all these us versus them divisions with a problem-solving mindset. We need to work together to build solutions together. That's what the Builders Movement is trying to do. If you sign up to any of our social media, every day, every week, we give you through email, through text, through social media, different tools, not to tell you what to think, but how to think with a little bit more nuance, with a builder's mindset that has curiosity, creativity, compassion, and courage. The 4 C's of a builder's mindset that helps you not just build enterprises, but build bridges and build better communities.
When it comes to any entrepreneurs that are out there trying their hardest to do their own thing, follow their passion, but make sure that they set a good example for their community, what is one piece of advice you would give someone who says, I don't know where to start?
I think the most important advice I can give to entrepreneur and to every human being is be kind to every person, treat everybody with an assumption of positive intent and recognize their humanity. The amount of times that you can change your life by just like looking at people in the eyes when they're walking through the streets or crossing you at the HEB, just look at them with kindness, look at them with respect, and they might have had a terrible day, and all of a sudden you give them human warmth, and you might change the course of their life and the life of others. So every single day, have a little bit more grace. We all need to learn to do that and to just be a little bit more loving to one another.